I'll buy them, dude. Are you kidding?
All right, we're recording now.
I'm buying
I'll
them.
send to you.
I'll shoot you my address, but you better not give me a lot.
Okay.
Capitalism.
Gotta send her one of these. She's been on the show.
I've got some more magnets anyways for a video for Amazon, so I'll send you some.
Well, I will inspire everybody at my church to hit you up and get some, because they'll probably want something like that.
The people at your church
Sweet.
will love his website.
Yeah. I want to design, and you can steal it. I mean, it's totally something I think that's an equal opportunity kind of thing. You know all those signs that say "Be kind"?
Yep.
Well, they've really been pissing off my mom, and she's like, "We need signs that say "Be pissed," because
So
That's a
funny
good
to
one.
say that, Amy. I've actually got a vinyl decal that says "Be kind" with the middle finger sticking up.
That's a good one.
great. That's
That's a
great.
good one.
She's like, people need to get mad. Like, screw this
Yes.
be kind shit. She's like, I don't know why more
See?
people are mad.
That would
She'd be
probably go
perfect for the
good,
podcast.
Jason, to market
She's
that
perfect for the
towards
podcast.
the Trump area.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because there was some lady that I was driving behind, and she was driving slow as fuck. I'm like, come on, driving Miss Daisy, just get off the, go onto a side street or something. Get the fuck off the road. And it's like, she had this "Be kind." I'm like, I just wanted to flip her off, and it's like, why don't I just take that little decal on her grocery getter and
I've always wanted a little marquee on the back of my car so that I can
Oh, yeah.
type in whatever I want to and just tell the guy,
I
back
have
to
one.
me like,
I have one. The
Yeah.
scroll it's a red scroll. I can type in
Yeah.
whatever I want, and it'll go across.
Oh,
oh
nice.
God, dude. I had a guy this morning. I'm on my way to work. I go to work, it's dark. And I get this big truck, this big Ram or something behind me. He's got those great big, huge halogen, really light, really bright LEDs. And I mean, they're right at like my mirror level in my RAV4.
Mhm.
And he's just like, my whole freaking cab of my car is lit up. I'm like, God dang it. I hate when
Dude,
they
I hate that. So out here, there's a lot of people that have redneck mobiles. So it's like
Yeah.
the jacked up trucks with like the lights in the wheel wells, as well as the
Oh,
super
geez.
bright LED headlights, plus the
Yes.
lights on top of the fucking cab and everything.
My people.
They look cool, but whenever I'm driving in my Kia Forte and those lights are fucking lasers in my goddamn in all my mirrors, and I have to like hug my steering wheel to get out of the way of all the lights because I already have light sensitivity at night anyway with headlights. I'm just like, dude, fuck out of here.
I flipped
Yeah, if
the
I could just
shade.
have one of those James Bond like exhaust bullet, the guns that shoot out the back. Just
I
start
could
having
show
that shit.
I could
flip
show
the
you how to
rear
make
view
a.
mirror. I flip the rear view mirror shade and I take
Mhm.
my foot off the gas.
That's what I was just like, I don't smoke anymore, but I used to have like cigarillos or some kind of cigar in my car just for that situation. Like I would just literally flip the mirror and I'll go. It's not that I'll go slow. I'm just not going to go any faster. And then I'll light something up and like hang my hand out the window.
No, I
Shoot at
actually,
'em.
I believe me, and
Okay.
I'm breaking law. I'm breaking law anyway because I'm a single guy. I only have one person in the car. I'm in the commuter lane, so
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
my bad part
I
about
take it just the opposite direction. I see how much I can draw them, how fast I can get them to go. Because if they're doing that and they're on your ass and they get their bright lights, if you start speeding up a little bit, they're going to keep speeding up and speeding up. Just to see how fast you can get them to go. Because when the police come, they're getting the ticket. You just drive away.
Him.
I do
Yeah.
something similar to people wherever I'm sitting at the light and like it's a turn arrow, and as soon as it turns green, they already honking at me before I could even have a chance to take off my foot off the brake. And it's not that I'm not paying it. Like if I'm on my phone, I don't get upset with them. It's like, yeah, I'm a dumbass. Thank you for reminding me. But if I'm sitting there just paying attention, looking at the light, and as soon as it turns green, they honk, I just go like a mile an hour through the intersection and just go, and they're like blaring on their horns, waving at me and everything, swerving and revving their engine and stuff. And then like as soon as I get through the intersection and stuff like that, if I get to the section where they can actually pass me, I just floor it and just like take off in front of them to where they can't catch up with me. It's hilarious.
You know what my dad used to recommend was he's like, always swerve. He's like, you don't slam on your brakes because if they rear end you, that could be problematic. I mean, yeah, they're
Yeah,
following
just
you.
do one of those.
But if you do a swerve, then sometimes it checks people to make them realize that they don't have enough stopping time to avoid whatever you might be legitimately swerving for. So if there was
Oh,
something
that's a good
in the road,
idea.
I've had
Be like,
I've
oh,
had
squirrel.
those
they'll back off. Yeah.
I've had those accidents before, so I don't really screw around too much other than just take my foot off the gas.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I've been hit in the rear before. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of chiropractic work after that.
That's why I keep an Italian in the trunk of the Lincoln. I just pop the trunk open and Luigi sticks his 45 out there and everyone backs the fuck up.
Yeah, I was wondering how like survival mode we get because I was ready to be like, guys, I'm a lady. I just keep Frico. That's the survival gear that I for
Yeah, he's a
is-
survival gear for a town.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have
I'm
seen
going up
his-
to Wisconsin to go see.
His weightlifting stuff is, I mean,
Dude.
he's lifting, cars. He's got a dumbbell with two of your cars, two of your Kias on the side. He just lifts it
Dang.
up.
Amy, I'm going out to Wisconsin to see Ken. So what am I in for?
Oh, you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna have a great time. He's got a great setup, man. It's gonna be good.
I bet.
But when are you going? Because I went in January.
Yeah, you did.
I'm
It was
going in
cold as
June.
shit.
No,
I'm going in June. I'm
that's
going to the car show.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
You have a great
During
time.
swamp
Thinking-
ass season.
Yeah, swamp
Oh.
ass.
Oh, it's
season.
not swamp ass in June. Come down here in June, dude. You don't have swamp ass. You'll be out here sweating through your wife beater.
I got to figure out whether I'm going to be able to get my guitar out there in one piece. So that's my thing. So,
You can't, well, yeah,
so
you
we
can't
can
carry it
jam
on.
there.
Yeah, you can usually carry those
got-
on the plane. There's you can carry that on the plane, and on the front of the plane, that not many people know this, but there's a small stand up, for like a long coat or something.
Oh, is that right?
Yep, you can usually put it right in there.
What if they do that as a carry on?
Because my dad used to bring his trombone
charge you for an extra carry on.
that trombone right there used to go on the airplane all the time in a hard case,
Oh,
and
okay.
they put it in. There's a little bin for it.
I tell you the way
Yeah, I
that
might bring
these
my strap.
are going. I'm just gonna pray that you both get there in all one piece because they're freaking me
I
out.
just-
Right? Like I'm not.
I hate flying too. I just
I do
hate
too.
it. It's
Yeah, I'm
not my
driving up
funnest
there.
thing to
I'm
do.
driving up
I
there.
drive.
So
The
yeah,
shit
I'm not. Yeah.
about air traffic control and all of like the near misses that they're having and collisions. I'm
Or
driving.
they're new hires. Have you
Dude.
heard about who they're
Yeah,
gonna
the
be
new
hiring
hires.
soon?
Yeah,
Yeah, the DEI initiatives.
No, the mentally retarded ones, not
Oh,
the
yeah,
DEI ones, but like the mentally retarded ones. Like, hold on, what? You're gonna hire what kind of co-pilots? It's like, hold on. I don't care. I don't care what race they are, but you're actually gonna get somebody with a 30 IQ. Is
Oh,
that
it's
really gonna go over well?
Well, I mean, but that's the thing is the DEI is about they bring down standards, in
Yeah.
order to be more inclusive, and it's not race, it's all thing. It's like
Freaking
Yeah.
crazy.
we need
It's
to
so
have more
stupid.
women. We
they'll
need,
get it low enough. They'll get it low enough that they'll hire me.
dude.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
Then you're
I'm
in trouble.
I mean, God is good, and I'm praying that I get to stay in this game a while. But like when I start hearing shit like that, I'm like, I like to fly because I was always like, I don't know how to do any of this shit anyway. I'm just
I like the flying part. I just hate the flying.
We-
The
I
Oh
mean,
no, I'm
experience
good.
sucks.
I'm good with the flying. I'm good with being up there. It's the
Yeah.
takeoff and it's the landing. Those are the
Yeah.
two things I hate.
Those don't even bother me. It's everything
no.
else. It's the cattle freaking seats and you're in there and it's shitty, and it's the people at the airport that treat you like shit, and it's just all the other bullshit. This taking off my goddamn shoes thing.
Yeah, getting
know,
your
I-
asshole microscoped. Yeah.
Well, that's not so bad.
What?
Let's be honest. That's not so bad.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Is it
What's
tattoo?
that cold?
Like so you guys are just talking about regular commuting. Fine. I've
Yeah.
had people ask me if I was in a band because of the gear that I've had to actually ship. And when you have to stay underweight as a tattoo artist traveling, and I'm traveling with inks that will explode in
Yeah. Yeah.
cabins. So you have to wrap all of your ink to make sure that it can actually travel with you.
Yeah.
That would be a pain in the
Oh,
ass. Yeah.
dude, it's dumb. I hate traveling on plane via and there's nothing. They talk about these like pressurized like really awesome traveling containers. No.
Yeah, they don't matter when they put them in the belly where it's not pressurized. Yeah, you don't have it up top with you.
If you're a tattoo artist traveling, is to be a black and gray artist. That way, you only have to bring one thing of ink. That's the only
That's
way.
not a bad plan.
That's one way to do it.
A lot of them, they were just like, yeah, I don't want to travel with all that. Either that, or they're willing to buy like a little set of ink when they get there. But like the gear alone, I mean, it is unbelievable. Traveling with that gear. And there's a whole rental services at certain conventions that are actually they'll bring you beds and seats and chairs and all this stuff that you can rent for the convention, because all they provide for you is like fold out chairs. So you're either doomed to work out of a fold out chair and have your client lay across several fold out chairs, or you travel with all this gear. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So the flights go far beyond just my own personal safety. It's unbelievable.
It's just a hassle.
Yeah.
It's a hassle.
Yeah.
It'd almost be better to like overnight or like UPS 2-day ship your shit in front of you or something.
There are people who do that. There are people who do.
As a drummer, that's what I always had to do, because you can't bring a drum set on the airplane, so I'd ship it UPS.
Yeah,
UPS ground or air, depending on what it was, and it used to be really reasonable. Now that's a $300 date each way.
Dang. I know. It's
so this is why I just drive everywhere. Like unless I'm at the pilot's helm, I'm not flying anymore. I'm done.
I got about a 1,500-mile circle. I'll drive anywhere within 1,500 miles if I got to do something.
You'll drive all the way from Minnesota down to Arizona. Yeah, you can pretty much drive anywhere.
Yeah, I drive. I will drive anywhere, but just to time it. It's just it's like, all right, anything inside of 600-700 miles, you're saving a little bit of time in the airplane. But really, by the time you wake up, you go through security, do this. It's like, oh no, that's going to get delayed. And then you get to the airport, you got to get a car. Okay, so you drove for 8 hours. You would have been there an hour earlier and frazzled from the flight, or you get there relaxed after driving for 8 hours.
Yeah, you're a little stiff from sitting, but other than that, you're good.
Not in my car.
I have met really cool people on planes before. I met a guy that I'm still Facebook friends with, a civil engineer. We had a great conversation. I met a woman that, guys, I wish that I liked painting houses, like painting portraits of houses and doing landscapes like that.
Oh, I love doing those.
I'm so good at it. I'll refer you to her. She told me she'd
do that.
Fee. She's an exceedingly wealthy woman connected to a wealthy family that I did this really, really, I did not charge enough, but I honestly don't think I could charge enough to enjoy doing it.
No, I know what you mean. I just did one I showed these guys the other night. This guy that let us in his car collection, and he doesn't let many people in his car collection. It's this huge collection. So they got his daughter to take a picture of him. He's like 87 years old, holding his 2 poodle puppies. Now I can do the animals pretty good. I got pretty good at animals, but I had to do him too. And it looks like him. It came out okay, but in my mind, it's just crayons on a chalkboard or something. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it's not. I have to take a picture of it and look at it on my phone, because then I'm like, it separates me from the painting, and I'm like, oh, that does look pretty good. That's him. And I placed him in his museum with his gas pumps and crazy old 30s Packard behind him, and all that stuff looks great. And they're all of his cars are parked on like real Oriental rugs and Persian rugs, and they're all real ones from So I had that all in there. So all the details there. I know when they see at the club, and we're going to present it to this guy as a thank you for showing us to his thing. They're all going to love it. But I'm still going to look at it and be like, and it's one of those. I talked to Stacy about it. I'm like, I don't think I should charge him for this. And she's looking at me like, "Are you high?"
Yeah.
She's like, "You got to charge him." I'm like,
I
will.
I know exactly how you feel.
I thought I would be through it before I was, and I was hitting it by the end. I'm sorry to cut you off, Jason.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that, like, this one I drew.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
It's like it.
Oh, you drew that one. Cool.
Yes, I drew this one. I
Yeah.
drew this one, and I scanned it in with my scanner and whatnot, and then colored it with Photoshop and Illustrator. But it's like some people are like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, it sucks.
No, my dad would love that shit. He always fucking sends me memes like that.
But yeah, I mean, like listen to you guys talk about art school and whatnot. I mean, I went to MCAT also, like Ken did. I gave up after a year because it burnt me out.
That's what the first year did. That it
the
did
first
to
year's
most
for.
people. Yeah.
I mean, I was in high school. I was in advanced placement for art and whatnot. You know, listen to you talk about earlier about doing stuff with your hands. I loved working with clay.
Yes.
I used to one of the guys I went to high school with wanted me to sell some of my stuff. I was
Oh, very cool.
I was actually really good at doing sculptures of like Dungeons and Dragons creatures and whatnot. I was really freaking good at it. Nice, Chris.
Yeah, my kid made this for me a few years back. I think it was like
Kick ass.
sixth grade,
Nice.
sixth grade, I think it was, or whatever. No,
Keep it forever, man. Keep that forever.
Yes.
No, dude, I keep all kinds of crap. Like I got a whole wall right here with all of like the birthday and Christmas and shit, like the cards that they would draw me or whatever. It's like all right up in here on the wall.
I have it all
That's
saved
awesome.
too. Yes, but yeah, working with pottery and whatnot, I loved it, and I should have kept it up, and I didn't.
You can
But
still do
yeah,
it.
You can still do it, Jason.
I
mean,
know I
it's-
probably could.
and it's
but-
fun. But now you talk to me because I'll give you this clay. This is automotive clay. This is the shit right here. This is what like GM and stuff uses. I've done whole motorcycles in this shit, and you can carve it like it's wood, and when it's done, you can paint it. I mean, it's really cool. It's not that expensive. It's like $10 for a 2 pound. Huh?
Yeah, send me a link too, because I've been getting really into wood sculpting and doing a lot of Dremel tool work and stuff like that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love doing that.
Yeah.
And
I
metal work and all that. I just this never enough. How can anyone be fucking bored? Ever?
Well, that's the
So,
thing. Is like when you love playing with stuff, you just you don't really care that you suck.
And it, like I said, you can drop things like this thing I just showed you here. These are 3 or 4 pieces of my tiki chess set that I started making like 9 years ago, and I just keep mine on my desk to remember. I got to get to that one day.
I gotta get to that chess set that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
But
I
yeah.
got a question. I don't think I've ever asked this or heard
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
answer it. What is the obsession with tiki shit?
Fuck, it's so cool.
That's
all
it.
co-
I didn't know if it was like, oh yeah, growing up, me and my dad would always talk about going to Hawaii. It never did or something.
No,
I don't know.
it came down to there was a show called The Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I
well
remember
before you
this.
were born.
I saw
And-
reruns. Damn it! All right.
Yeah. So there was one Brady Bunch episode, and Vincent Price was the guest star. The Bradys went to Hawaii,
Yep.
and like there was a kid named Jimmy Bakaya. There was his name in the show. I don't know. I remember this shit. This is why I can't like balance a checkbook, because this kind of stuff's is picking up that space in my brain. So the guy was Jimmy Bakaya, and like they found him in a cave, and it was just this kid, and so the Brady kids saw this kid, and Vincent Price was this evil guy, and there was like tiki monsters and stuff, and they brought him like baked beans and franks and a flashlight so they could feed him in a cave. It's the most fucked up thing ever. It's like just back when everyone was high, like, you know what we should do, man? We should have him go to like Hawaii. And then, yeah, but like Vincent Price is there. Well, what about Foster Brooks? No, Vince, let's just go Vincent Price because he's more scarier, you know. And it was this crazy thing. Anyway, it kind of I started to think that stuff was kind of cool. And then I liked tiki drinks because I thought they were hilarious with umbrellas and flowers and fuck all in them, and they tasted good.
Yeah.
And you buy a tiki drink for a girl, and she thinks you're rich. And it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I just learned more about the culture, and like the mid-century modern aesthetic is so full of the tiki Polynesian kind of world. There was also a restaurant called the Honolulu. It was a Chinese restaurant growing up, and it was built in the mid 70s. So think about the old, you know, where you sit, you're facing just a table for 2, and had the things that come over the top of the 2 chairs were like this. You know, the table is down here, and the 2 chairs would come over and had all the dragons and fuck all in it, but it was all tiki stuff and bamboo. And, you know, it was a place we all hung out, and it was just the coolest vibe. And I've been just trying to recreate that. That's why I got that whole tiki bar thing. And I go to this tiki oasis in Arizona every year. This year, I'm going to spend like $4,000 going to this fucking tiki oasis to sit there and drink and listen to surf music, and with a bunch of like
in
lunatics.
Arizona, you're gonna be listening to surf music. That's the funny part about it. Landlocked state, surf music. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
tiki bar here.
awesome-
That's
yeah,
even
awesome
crazier.
sushi. Yeah, awesome sushi in Arizona.
There used to be one in Minnesota too.
Your signature is Hawaiian shirts too. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
it.
Yes.
Well, I wore this one for you, Amy, because I know you can appreciate a good pinup girl. So this is of course Betty Page.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's a really cool shirt. That is a very cool shirt.
All the buttons, I can't show them, but all the buttons have a little picture of Betty Page's face on them too.
Really?
What?
Yeah,
That's
this is a sick. This is the shirt that I wear when I want to piss people off. Like if I know there's gonna be a bunch of feminists around, I wear this. Because then when I say, they're like, "Oh, that's so sexist," I'm like, "This is Betty Page. She did this for a while, and then she found God and dropped out at the peak of her career."
She was revolutionary.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
really was.
Really, really was. When I go to church, I get a lot of flack for wearing these jeans that have holes in them. And one guy was like, "How much you spend for those jeans that have the holes in them?" I said, "Well, I didn't pay anything extra from the ones that I bought of the same brand. So they came on the house, man. Like I got them for free,
Yeah.
like I got these hole features." And like it's come up a couple times, and then I said to somebody, I said, "Yeah, I wear them on Sunday. They're my holy jeans."
I
And
used-
I
I-
was like,
when I was doing my political thing with the Republican group, one of the things I would do is I would go give speeches at churches. So I would talk to church groups in the church basement, or it was never at the Sunday. It was usually like a Wednesday night. They meet and they talk politics or whatever. And I would always go in there with the whole idea is I want to earn their trust, and then I'm going to shock the fuck out of them, and then earn their trust back to shake them up a little bit, because these Christians need to wake the fuck up. And
Yeah.
So I would sit there. And we would talk about, whoever the person was, and this person is a God-fearing man. He'd be a good person, and he believes in the Bible and all this kind of stuff. And they'd yes, rah, rah, all the red meat. You throw it out there. And this is what the pastors do. This is nothing new. And then I'd go, let me tell you a story about where I came from. And I say, I didn't grow up. I grew up in Massachusetts. Parents are school teachers. I went to art school in Minneapolis. I'm about as far right or far left liberal as you could even imagine being. And I said, I told him this. I said, to the point where when I wasn't married and the girl that I was having sex with at the time came and told me that she was pregnant, I'm like, why don't you just take care of that?
right. Yeah.
And I said, and they, you could see this room full of 60 to 70-year-old women and men just, well, this charlatan, and I'd give them a minute to talk amongst themselves, because they would just, they do that. And then I'd say, as soon as those words rolled off of my tongue, something from above, and I wasn't a believer yet, but something struck me. And I realized that what I said was the worst moment. This is the worst moment of my life. I have absolutely hit bottom. And from there, then I could build. And it was great, because they're like, what? And then I would bring that in, because I'd say things like, look, some of these people you don't think are a good Christian or not a good Christian. You don't know what a good Christian is, because you don't know what's in people's heart.
Right.
People have moments. And it was like every time I did that and told that story, we'd turn it around and we'd win that precinct every time. And it was, there was no lies to it. It was just all truth, and it was heart. And it was usually, I can say it now, but usually I couldn't get through it without really, choking up. And it was authentic, because I'm pouring my heart about my absolute worst moment of my life to these people. And then you just say, if I can be here and talking to you guys, and you 100 people are here to listen to me. Yeah. You didn't expect this, did you? Well, this is what God expects from you.
Dude, that's the shakeup that's in my space too. I think I'm really there to kind of balance it out a little bit in that way. I'm tattooed up to here, like
literally, yeah.
I kind of stand out a lot, but yeah, it's the same kind of thing. But it's genuine, and I think it kind of opens up the perspective, because when it gets very incellular, when you're really digesting just the same crowd over and over again. That I think.
But you got to build the trust first. You have to have that. You have to build that trust with people first, where they just like. And for you, with someone that would come up to you and talk to you about your genes, you've built that trust, whether you know it or not. For them to even approach you and be like, "Well, what's this about?"
I also
and you
find
can tell them.
Like, you think you're the worst thing that's been thrown my way, buddy?
Here's one for
Yes.
you for your holy genes. So we go to a place called the Barn. I've told Ken, I think I've told Harkos, and I know Jason knows, but we go to a place called the Barn. It's a venue, a music venue, really nice. Old dairy barn turned into a sound stage. It's really, really cool. I'll never go to another place to go listen to live music. But anyway, most of the people are our age, my age, not our age.
You can't say our age. You're the only one.
Yeah, you're the only one.
Our
even me, who's old, and I'm old. I'm still not your age.
So
my wife Ken's parents are in your age.
My wife is 56. She's 6 years younger than me. Wait a minute. She's gonna be she's 6 years younger than me. Anyway, so she loves wearing holy jeans, and most of the women just cannot stand it.
Don't get it, man.
I said, you get it, baby. You're looking good. I said, don't worry about it. But it's funny. It's hilarious.
It's a whole fugazi though, because it's so for a long time before I had my new car, I had a car. It was a Hyundai Sonata that I had for forever ago, and it had no car door handles except for the driver's side. And I had actually had to replace that one, and it didn't match the rest of the car, so the color was like completely off.
Good
so
times.
This constantly was the thing that people would point out, be like, "Is that your car out there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What's with the door handles?" And I was like, who's gonna steal that car? Like, seriously. Who the hell is going to look at that car twice? I'm like, I just believe that you don't give people reasons to want to take from you. And I was like, I've lived in the city. I've had cars stolen. They weren't flashy cars. In fact, they were just easy to steal.
Yeah, they'll take anything.
FYI, Hyundai or Plymouth Voyager or Dodge Caravan. That was a hot ticket, man. Minivan. But they used to dump the seats out and then steal other stuff.
With the minivan.
Yeah. But it was
fun fact about your door handles. You could have actually gone to your insurance company and got the anti-theft device by not having door handles. I did that because I shaved the door handles off one of the cars I had. What? And I just had a little I had a wire that you'd pull and it would open the door. But I shaved the door handles. I said I put an anti-theft device, and they gave me the anti-theft device discount on my insurance because I shaved the door handles. I'm like, how do you get in?
But did you tell them what I did for the anti-theft device was shave off the door handles, or you just said I put on?
I told them exactly that. I told them, I said, this is what I've done to make sure no one steals this car.
And then Tesla stole you. You should have patented it. Tesla stole your design.
I would have.
We're in talks.
Are you the one that's giving Elon that mushrooms and microdosing him?
Working on it.
There you go.
That's good. The man needs it. I need it. But yeah, that was what I used to do, and I have that philosophy with everything in my life. Like, it's part of the reason why I like being tattooed as a person, or being, just anything that you are gonna presume about me. I love people that when they open their mouth, I'm like surprised, because as you get older in this world, it's hard to be surprised. So when somebody alters my perception and gives me something like different to look at in a way I never saw it before, I'm like, whoa, that's cool. And I love it. So for me, that's what wearing all different kinds of things is about. It's just like, why not play? You have all this stuff to paint with, like, just do it. Right. It's not the definitive part of my character. It's not what defines me. It's just what I'm chose to wear today. Have fun with it, man. Right. Like, and God don't care. Like you said, Ken, the nature of my heart is something that only God can see. And you got to ask otherwise, because no amount of signature purses or cars with handles is gonna really show that.
Right.
Well, and you bring up something good of talking with people that you never know what's going to come out of their mouths. It's why that I love knowing this group of people right here. It's, you know, Bruce gets going on some of the survival stuff, and I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. Oh, that's a really good idea. Jesus Christ, I know nothing about this. I'm gonna die if this all goes to hell. Shit, I gotta talk to Bruce more. And Chris, with years ago when we started to interact on the Nomad Network, I started watching your videos because you started talking about, like, I'm not a hip hop guy, so what did I know? It's not my thing. But you're like, no, we're talking about liberty and doing this, and so I started watching your videos about what you're talking about. I'm like, holy fuck, this is awesome. I mean, like, truly, wow. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how he does it. And here's why it opened my eyes, because now I know somebody that does it.
Famoso,
it's different,
man.
when you're just like, I don't like this and I don't like that, and but like, okay, now I know this guy. I talked to him in the network, so he's obviously serious about doing what he's doing. I should check it out because they said I'd check it out. And I was watching, I was like, wow, this is actually a great message. This is really cool shit. And the videos you're putting together and stuff, like you said, you're like, oh, they're low budget. I didn't have anything, but I'm watching them. Like, they were so compelling. And then watching Bruce react to your videos too was another thing, because he'd be talking about it. I'm like, well, I haven't seen that one. I got to check that one out.
Well, we had him on. I had him on the podcast.
Yeah.
A couple years ago when he was at his hip hop hour, and I got all turned on with Famoso. Right? Is that his name? Famoso.
Yeah. You got obsessed with Famoso's music.
Yeah, dude. He's got some cool freaking riffs, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean, dude? I'm 63 years old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, that whole situation with both of y'all, like, whenever I was doing that, like, now that I'm doing like the marketing thing, it's a little bit, well, plus I know y'all, so it's a little bit different, right? Like,
right.
Like, but back then, like, I felt like I was an outcast in Nomad Network, right? Because everybody else, they're like, oh, they're trying to build this business with this thing or that thing or whatever, and I'm over here trying to do something out of left field, but use all the same things, the same tactics, right? But then I got, you two, and I'm just like Ken, whenever I joined, you were like always like the first one talking on the weekly calls and everything like that. And like, you had like a closer relationship with Jason and stuff. I'm like, okay, this guy's basically like number 2 in this network, and then, but yeah, well, like whenever you guys, you're right. But I'm just, there's that. Well, okay, whatever. But no, like when you guys were like, oh, I like your stuff. I'm like, I wouldn't have imagined that, but okay.
Yeah, two old white guys.
What
was that, Bruce?
Ken was the Luca Brasi.
Well, here's the deal I do in Zoom calls whenever I'm in groups like this, because whenever a speaker is talking and they like open up for questions, everyone fucking does this. And I've noticed that. So I'm like, if I'm always the first one and I'm consistently the first one, I'm the one that the host will know. That they'll rely on to start things off.
I've always heard about this because I'm the same way, Ken. And actually, I've been approached by people being like, hey, you should professionally be paid to be like a ringer for people who are trying to.
I've had that offer too.
Yeah, because they're like, you ask the first question, like if they have a Q&A, I'm always the first to like raise my hand and ask a question, and they're like, you pop off you start it, and like the way that you kind of keep engaging the conversation, it allowed me to present better. And I was like, maybe there is a job like that.
There is a job for that, and and actually it got to a point with the Nomad Network where I would private message Jason. I'm like, Jason, I don't want to be that guy that's always the pain in the ass. I said, so you can tell me, hey, let someone else go. He's like, no. You always get things going, man. If you don't start, they'll just sit there. This thing's going to be over in 10 minutes and no one will say shit, And it's true, because there's times where I just experimented. It's just like, so how's things going, everybody? That's, and I just sit there.
Yeah.
And it would be dead silence unless Amy was there. And it was like, that I've always been one to jump in, because I'm like, again, in the Nomad Network, it blew my mind that there's 2,000 people in here paying good money. I mean, for a while there, it was pretty fucking expensive to be in there. And they won't take advantage of the person that brought you in. And that's what I looked at, is it's like, this is taking advantage of, this is stealing from Jason Stapleton, his because he's happy to give. It's not a shtick with him. You know, he's happy to give, and he's the real guy. And I'm like, so everyone's just gonna not worry about that, huh? Okay. Well, this is great, because the 5 of us can sit and talk to him out. Now, any one of the 5 of us could walk up to him in the street. He'd know who we were. We go have a drink or coffee or something to eat, and it'd be great. I mean, we go out to dinner with him every year when I go down to Scottsdale.
Yeah, I want to hang out with him. I didn't make it the last time.
His wife's awesome. His wife Nancy is a fucking riot.
I'm sure all of them are awesome.
And her and Stacy, it was fun watching those two, because you know Stacy, she has no fucking filter.
I love it.
I love that.
Oh, she's great. And Nancy's in a world in Hollywood and dealing with those people. She was like, oh my God. It's Jason's like, Nancy loves Stacy. She's like her favorite person.
She's got this, like, she doesn't even have anything on her face. Like her face completely like her facial expression is like, what? like if she feels something, it's there before it even comes out of her mouth. So it's completely transparent. It's very refreshing and awesome.
Oh, she's awesome. And it used to embarrass me, because I was always very guarded with what I said, and I was very, because that's the way I was raised. You know, you'd be polite always. And she showed me that you know, there's times where you got to give no fucks and just say the shit that someone needs to hear. And as we got older and stuff, I realized how much she had helped me. Just in because I was really easy to be walked all over, really easy. You could walk, you could just take from me and steal from me like nothing, and I would do it with a smile on my face, and then go feel bad about myself for the next month and a half. And she's like, "Why don't you just not fucking do that part and tell the person to go fuck themselves?"
She reminds me
you
of
can
my
do
friend,
that.
my friend Amy D. I actually had a podcast before any of that called "Why I'm Single," that my friend Amy D used to do with me, and I called her my clutch friend, because she's like the clutch purse that, like, or the person you go to that like slaps you against the head, like you're saying, Stacey. It's like, why are you doing that? Get out now. But it was like, we did it as a dating podcast, because she was with her person, and she at first coined this thing where what she would do is it was during the like internet dating phase, right? Like, so she created Why I'm Single, because she actually is a fraud investigator. And so she knew how to like clap back really well with guys that thought they could like abuse her. So she would do like all these freaking like screenshots of guys, and then just started this Instagram page where she would post like in these private groups these men that were awful to her and that would take her for a ride, and it became this community of like, you know, scorned women who like would share all of their dating debacles. And so she became really good at like seeing the bullshit before it happened. So when I started dating again and I was going into that realm, I said, Amy, we should have a podcast, you know, bring back Why I'm Single, but I'm the test dummy. You can use me as like the lamb to the slaughter, because I'm a freaking idiot, man. And like I'd like send her text messages and things, and she's like, block them now. She's like, they're about to do this. And then sure enough, it would be like this stream of insults that would come over. Like it would go from like, yeah, I'm not really interested, and they'd be like, then they would be like, you fucking bitch, like la, la, la. And it would just like, she's like, get him out of there, block him. But like the whole podcast like really was great. I kind of miss it, because she was like, we were like two opposite sides. Like I was Disney and she was Elvira. Like it was
great.
And you know, relationships, you know, you can't, you just keep reinventing the wheel. I don't know why we haven't gotten it, but like it's just endless fodder of crazy crap that you can just talk at nauseum. It's nuts. So it was a good podcast. I wanted to do my own about, entrepreneurship. So we let that drop, but it was a lot of fun. She reminds me a lot of Stacy, and she does. When I was tattooing in the beginning, she was our front end person, and there would be guys that come in out of nowhere, and dude, the stuff that would come off the street, like if you've never had to deal with like clients that just walk in. I mean, if you worked at a bar, maybe
Similar.
but you've never had to have people take their clothes off and then
Right.
tattoo them on their side after they just worked.
My tattoos came from let's see, right outside the Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas. As soon as I got out of the strip club,
dude,
after drinking 50-cent beer.
See, I was your tattoo artist, and Amy was the front end person. There'd be guys who would come in. They're like, "Hey, do you want to go out to our van?" And like, we got beers out there. And Katie and Amy's like, "No, and we also don't want to get raped and murdered either. You dick. Go out to your van. Are you out of your fucking mind?"
we have a white panel van out here. Can you help me with my couch?
Dude, and so like when I go to
Lotion
church
on.
for, like holy jeans, I'm like, dude, you have no idea. Like this is
Put
not
the lotion on. Put the lotion on.
I don't care about any of this. Like you gotta get a lot worse for me to bat an eye. I have been through the fire.
Well, do you find this, Amy? Do you find that what I found when I started going to church quite a bit, and this was my church in Andover. It was a great church. I really dug it. I would the other people that had similar coming to religion later in life, let's just say, that had done things. It's one of the I was always of the idea of why would I want to be in any kind of congregation church that would have me as a member. Because I mean it's obvious that you're hypocrites if you would even let me in the door, because that's how far out I was. And I mean, I remember when I walked in the first day, I was like, because one of my friends in politics was like a super Jesus freak. I mean, just the one that you think that drives most people away because they're so Jesus freaky. Oh, you got to come and I'll teach you about the good news of Jesus. And it was, oh fuck, but she was a good friend and I liked her. We loved, the families liked each other and the kids would play together. All right, you know what? Maybe I'll try it. So, but before I went to it on a Saturday, I was going to go with her on Sunday. I went on Saturday and just kind of scoped it out. Me and Tucker went, and there ain't a person, and I'm going to say it, there ain't a goddamn person in church on Saturday unless you work there. And I walk in and all I heard was music and this band was playing. This dude was singing and I'm like, it was a big church. It's like, the 2,500 or 3,000 seat arena,
Wow.
the rock band and stuff, evangelical, typical Midwest evangelical church.
Right.
And I'm like, is this one of those super churches like that dude that has all the stuff on TV that everyone hates? This is just weird. And I'm like, there's nobody in here. There's nothing going on. It was kind of, the church building itself was pretty antiseptic and corporate, like most of them are. And then this fucking like 6'4" bald, hard looking motherfucker comes walking up to me after the band stopped playing, stuff like that. Turns out he was the music ministry, like priest there or pastor and in charge of all the music and a really good musician. He's like, it's me and Tucker and Tucker's just a little kid. He's a short little fucker. And we're walking, he's like, can I help you? And I'm like, and he was kind of like, what the hell are you doing here? Kind of help you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of going down the street here. Honestly, I'm church shopping. I can't think of a better way. I just, something's missing in my life. I don't know what it is. And I just came in here. And I had been to a bunch of other churches on that same street because there's one street. It's like car dealerships, but with churches. And most of them no one even talked to you. There's like, here's a pamphlet. Oh, we've got, see over there, there's pamphlets. You can grab what you want, and they go back in their business. I'm like, the fuck is this? So This guy's like, he's like instantly his demeanor just completely changed. And he's like, oh, Yeah, how can I help you? Let's talk, you know. And we sat there for an hour, and he introduced me to this other priest, the other pastors and stuff, and I was like, this is totally different because it was like the conversation we were having here.
Right.
And I didn't know what churches did other than fuck people over and tell you how bad you are and you're going to hell. That's what I figured churches did, because that's, you know, when I'd gone to weddings and funerals, that's what you heard at Irish Catholic churches in Boston. And so I started going, and it was like the first time I went, I'm like, this is a fucking cult. The band's playing. The band's playing. There's oh my god, you know, and everyone's singing. I'm like, this is I'm sitting way in the back with my friend who's like an elder in this church, you know, and she's like, what'd you think? I'm like, I mean, other than the part where I was crying because something hit, I said, this is really weird. I told her, I said, this is really weird. I don't know if I can come back. But of course I came back. And the more I went, I'd start asking questions like, where do you guys sell Bibles here? Because I don't know, where do you get one of those? I'm thinking it's probably something I should know about. I mean, I was that far out. So I took that. They had a class that was like here's the introduction to the church. This is what we're about. And I'm like, me and Stacy went to this class, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know shit. And I said it like that. I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm like, what's this all about? You know, what's a Pharisees? I don't know what a Pharisees is. What is it? Is it like a pharaoh? Were those
Right.
like, I'm thinking King Tut, and not like King Tut from like Egypt. I'm thinking, you know, like Steve Martin King Tut.
That's what I was thinking of too.
Yeah. And this one lady that was come to the church, she just moved to town and she was trying to find a church, and she had grown up Catholic and been in a staunch Catholic family. And she just looks at me and she's like, I envy you. And I'm like, envy me? Are you out of your mind? I don't know. God, I don't know. I told her, I think I even said, I don't know a goddamn thing what goes on here. And, you know, and then the pastor that was there, he just thought this was funny. I mean, he was just like, he was a cool guy. He was like, see, that's real people right there. This is who we need to reach.
But keep going, because you guys keep talking about this, because I have stuff to add. But she does envy you because that's that beginning heat.
Well, what she said was, you have no baggage. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I hadn't thought about it like that. I have zero baggage from any religious churches or nothing. I was just like, what's this all about?
Too crazy.
A year later, I'm giving sermons in front of the whole congregation.
Really?
You too?
Yeah.
Gee.
Are you an ordained minister?
Nothing. No, I'm just a guy.
See,
I don't have the seal. I need to get the seal.
I'm not only an ex-con, I'm an ordained minister.
Yes. Those are the best kind of ex-cons.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of being in the junior high school ministry for a couple of years with a friend of mine, and
outstanding.
When I got all turned on and got the Lord's fire under my ass.
Well, what I learned from all of that was, you know, I do believe organized religion, I don't think is a good thing. I think it's been corrupted on all levels by
it's terrible.
Humans. However, there are individual places where it still lives. And
it's terrible.
This church that I was in was one of those places these are the things that I didn't know. I didn't know why people went to church or gave money or anything like that. I never gave money. I just went. And then my wife got sick. And this is like 3-4 months after I started going to this church. So I didn't know anybody other than this one lady in the church. I'd met the pastor, and, you know, I trying to find out, you know, it's me. So I'm going to talk to people, but she gets sick, and Stacy ends up going to the hospital for like 6 days. She had like pneumonia, a chest tube and the whole bit. And I worked 50 miles from home, and I got 2 kids. One of them was young and one of them was junior high school. And the church just found out about this because my friend Jana was in there, and just like this new, you know, they didn't know me from shit. All of a sudden I get a phone call from this lady, Brenda, who's the outreach person. She's like, we want to help you. You know, we'll bring dinners over. And so for these 6 days that the wife was in the hospital, they'd come and get the kids after school, and they'd bring them and they'd go hang out with other kids, and they'd do stuff, and they'd take them off for ice cream. And it was like awesome. And then dinners would show up. So I come home at night, and the kids are sitting at the table eating like lasagna. And I'm like, where'd this come from? Neither of you can drive. Oh, the church brought it over. And
Okay.
I never knew who did it. I never knew anything about it. No one took credit for any of it. It was just like, so I go to the church and I'm talking to Brenda. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? It's, how can I repay you for this? And she's like, there's no repayment. I'm like, oh, okay. So this is what churches are supposed to be. I get
Yeah,
it.
fellowship.
The fellowship.
Yeah.
It all fell apart when COVID hit because
Yeah,
like most churches, they fell into the world of, if we continue doing these good deeds, we're going to get shut down.
Yep.
well, actually,
They should have continued.
you're touching on to why I go to the church I do. They stayed open during COVID, and actually,
Oh,
my
awesome.
pastor is looking into being defrocked by his order because he chose to stay open, and the free evangelical, or the evangelical free church is, from what I can tell, kind of witch hunting my pastor because of the fact that he chose to stay open, and he felt that a higher calling, when people needed to have that, and they kept going. And it's a really interesting thing. Our church is now, it's in a private location. We do it in a barn and a little
Awesome.
out that we do. It's very small, and so
The building doesn't matter.
no,
So-
and like you said, there's real mission. If anybody needs anything, we come for them, and real fellowship. Everybody takes part. Bring something to eat. We all eat together on Sundays. Like, I spend from 9:30 in the morning, which it takes me an hour to get there. So I get up at get out of the house by 8:30, get there at 9:30, and I spend until like 3 p.m. at church on Sunday. My whole Sunday is pretty much church, and it's wonderful. You asked about the corruption and what you guys were talking about. That is a very legitimate thing, and the reason being, at least that I can tell, is that there's a thing called 501c3, which is basically submitting yourself and asking for permission under the government to be a non-taxable entity.
Yep.
And when you do that, that's essentially putting a god before the god. And so
Yep. it's a false idol.
Yes, exactly. And you're asking for protection under something that you should never ask for protection. So it reorders the power structure. It's supposed to be family government, church government, then civil government, and you move through those things. But we've lost connection with those things, and that's been a very pointed thing. And that's why there's been all this attack on the family. It's because if you unroot the family and you destructuralize that, then you shake everything apart, and then it gives more power to entities that should not have it. So that's why I'm where I'm at. Like, because of COVID broke my heart in ways that I mean, it's the reason why I met all of you. Stapleton, everything I needed. Like, my heart was broken. And that's what they say about Christ. He's for the brokenhearted. So that's what got me, was that. And then just realizing how many people, like you said, Ken, were there when I was that low, and when I felt, and I wasn't even that low, but like when I was really shook in everything, the people that had always been there were there for me. And part of it was my family. And so I started thinking, well, how can I have more time with my parents? I'm very blessed to still have my parents. And, there's a lot of my friends that don't. So I was like, maybe I should stop being a whiny child and expecting them to be different people that I want them to be. Maybe I should just appreciate what they are. And maybe if I want a relationship with them, maybe I should hang out with them more.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about all the people that they went to church with. And I had heard about this church and this pastor, and my mom does not like anyone. And I include myself in that. I'm going to tell you, I really don't think if I was her kid, she'd like me. She doesn't like anybody, but she loves our pastor. Our pastor is like unscorched by any kind of, she really can't criticize him. And so I was like, I gotta meet this guy. Like, I gotta go and meet this guy. And I started thinking about it. I was like, these people hang out with my parents more than I do. So
Oh, that's a good point.
so I was like, well, if anything happens to my parents, death is hard, and our family and everything. We got a lot of, all families have their issues, but I was thinking, how cool would it be to have a community of people that know my family and who are tethered to them in that way. So that was my lead in, was wanting to spend more time with my family, being curious about this pastor that I'm like, how have you known my mom this long and not
Yeah.
gotten her wrath or ire? And he's that amazing. He's really incredible. Very intelligent man, historian. He went to school for history first and then took over for his dad, being a pastor, and been doing it ever since. His whole family is incredible. The church is incredible. Every single my favorite, like one of my favorite people there is 75 years old. He's awesome. So like, and instantly, it's like you said, as soon as I was there, they were like, who are you? How are you?
Yeah.
About?
And that's what the churches need to do. And that's where so many, like I said, I've gone to a whole bunch of them to try and find the one to get in. And most of them it was like a business you walk into, but you didn't have an appointment. And I'm like, this ain't the point. And like when Stacy was sick, now this is, like I said, it was only a few months after I started going to this church. They didn't know her. She wasn't coming with me. She had 2 kids to sit at home. And so I just go because I just needed to. And she was like, yeah, go do your thing. They sent one of the pastors and a couple people from the church found out where she was at the hospital that didn't even know her. And they went and saw her and visited her in the hospital. And it wasn't like, oh, come to our church and stuff. They were just like, how are you? How are you doing? And they were really honestly wanted to talk to her. They weren't evangelizing, and they weren't trying to convert her. They weren't trying to. They were just like, you're a sister of ours, and we want to be here for you. And I was like, what? And she was blown away. Her mom, who lived 3 miles away from the hospital, never came and visited her.
Yeah.
But here's complete strangers that came. It's unreal. What's this picture here?
There's Pastor Bruce.
Were you
That is that is you. For crying out loud. Yeah, he is. Oh, you missed that. You were out for a minute. Yeah,
you were out for a minute.
He's ordained.
I'm ordained.
Okay, right on, man.
Yeah.
I actually can't.
I've been in and out of the church for years. Let's see, I got fired from God twice, so I'm done. No, just it was a situation where we got into it. It's pretty much a mega church here in the South Valley of San Jose, and I ended up buddying up with the junior high school pastor, and then they ordained me at the same time. And but before that, they had this real popular junior high school pastor or children's pastor, whatever. He went to start his own church. Well, his church went and it folded and stuff like that. So there's a big political pull in the church and stuff like that.
That's a racket. That's a club.
Yeah, it was pretty much a racket. And then they pretty much came in one day and they cleaned out the whole ministry.
Wow.
And really left a sour taste in my mouth. And on top of that, I'd stuck around for a while and they had bought a bunch of land around the church and stuff like that. And some stuff was starting to being said and some rumors going around. And I was kind of just like dropping out. And I was pretty high up in the church at that time. And the pastor had called me and I had missed a couple of weeks, and pastor called me and said, here, come on, let's go have breakfast. So he brought me in, we had breakfast and stuff. And he just kind of gave me the backdoor type of freaking explanation and stuff. And I'm just all like, dude, I'm out of here. I was like, I can't do this. Yeah. I don't, yeah, you're corrupt.
The churches are all made of men. They're not made of God.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like my God doesn't live here, dude. So right now my God lives in my soil in my backyard, and we communicate all the time. So,
I mean,
and you know what? Out of the whole church family that I had there, I probably have I'd say probably 2 people that we still, commute and keep in contact with, but that whole big family that I had around me just kind of went away.
Yeah.
And now that I go back there, every once in a while I'll touch base with what's going on over there, and there's just like nobody. Just it was a feeding spot, and then that was it. Once you were fed and you got full, there was nothing else, because the only thing that the church was looking for was to feed people the new.
Yeah.
And once you were mature in that, you were not expected to move on. You were just expected to
Total
capitulate.
Yep.
Capitulate. Yeah, fall in line and capitulate. And that wasn't about capitulating. So that was the end. That was it. So I'm called to do what I'm doing here. I'm called to do what I'm doing with teaching people about prepping and homesteading and gardening and growing food and stuff like that. So that's kind of
awesome.
yeah. I mean, that's my calling. I finally got it after a while. This is what I do, because this is where I'm at peace, and this is where we communicate.
Yeah,
as odd as that might sound to a lot of people, that's where I communicate. It's where
and I just want to talk about guns.
Yeah. I gotta pull out of here, because I've got to get this thing posted up and
Okay.
and,
Well,
all that.
it's only like 3 p.m. where you are. For the rest of us, we all got to get up in the
Yeah,
morning.
exactly. It's fucking 12:15 a.m.
stop
and I just had
fucking
somebody
whining.
from a label message me wanting to hop on a call. So,
Yeah, there you go.
which is
Not
crazy
everybody
because I'm
can
supposed to have it
Not
tomorrow
everybody
at
can live in
9.
California. I'm sorry.
Dude, I'll go upstairs and have a whole conversation with Rico until 3 a.m. about this. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even know. Like, you gotta cut me off. Like, seriously.
Like Amy, when we were talking about this, and we're all like, yeah, we don't really need a topic. It's Amy, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
us. We could just
Yeah.
get in there and say blue, and then it would be 2 hours
We
of
could go
talking
off.
about that.
She's like,
that
you know,
word.
there's like 45 different types of blue.
Yeah,
My favorite one to use.
Cerulean, sky
Yeah,
blue.
exactly.
Why so blue?
Yeah.
Singing the blues,
Blue balls.
blue ball.
Blue balls.
Those happen too.
That was horrible.
Only Jason. Amy, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you coming on the show and
having me.
yeah,
I hope you'll ask me again. I would love to come back on. I love
Oh,
you
you're
guys.
more than welcome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
absolutely. Well, I got
It's
to
great
fly
to
out of
see
here,
all
guys,
of you.
So you guys can stay if you want to. I got to get out of here, so I'll talk to you.
All
All right,
later.
we'll see you, Bruce.
All right, bye.
Later, Bruce. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's cutting out earlier than all of us.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
know.
crazy.
Every
I'm
time.
on like the latest every time.
I know it is. Well, it's like, so Amy had when we did her podcast. It was a few years ago, and we're just like, what are we gonna talk about? I don't know. And it was like 3.5 hours.
Mhm.
I mean, it was Joe Rogan level of
Yep.
Well, technically, we've been going over 2 hours now because it's been 1 hour on the recording, and then we did an hour on the live.
What?
Don't
Yeah, it's
tell
easy.
you it's a good time. I got a solid 6 hours in me, because that's how long I have to entertain my clients usually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I can just talk, man. Like, you spin me off in a different direction. The only thing that's gonna happen is I have liquid here, so I will have to pee again. That's the only problem.
I know. I finished this, and now this is gone.
Yeah.
Dude, I swear I thought you were going to say I peed 3 times since we've been sitting here. I thought that's
No,
what you were going to say.
I'm a camel.
Nobody
So this
can-
is
maybe
I'm like a camel. Stacy says she's like, because I'll be like one of those people that just we're talking and I'm there for hours, and then all of a sudden I got to go to the bathroom, and she calls it the forever pee. So
Yeah.
I timed it one time because I was just like, this. I don't know if this is healthy or not.
You're
but
like Tom Hanks in The League of Their Own.
4.5 minutes. I went just straight peeing 4.5 minutes. Now I could
That's
barely
tough,
walk into the bathroom because we're out having a good time, and I'm like, I don't want to go to the bathroom because I always notice it if I go run to the bathroom, come out, and it's like half the people are gone, and I'm like, well, if they all leave, so I'm gonna just sit there. I can hold it.
No, man. I can't do it. I'll pee myself.
It is a
That's like-
skill. As I
that's
get
like
older,
those-
it gets worse, but it's a forever
Yes.
pee.
I haven't had those forever peas in a long time, man. I remember back in like elementary school time frame when I would go stay the night over at friends.
Oh God,
And
yeah.
we would stay up all night, like
Yeah.
drinking like a case of Pepsis each
Yeah.
and shit like that. You know, back before we knew it was fucked up for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
And
that bag 6 bags of Doritos and a case
yeah,
of Pepsi.
exactly. Like all that stuff was fine. Like no, like there was like cases of Pepsi in the closet. I could just grab a Pepsi whenever I wanted to, whenever I was a little kid. It's like, how do I not have type 4 diabetes or something, you know? And
exactly.
yeah, and then but no, I remember like staying up and stuff like that. And we would drinking so many or whatever, and like playing games or watching movies or whatever. And then yeah, we would have those forever peas. It was like take forever, man, in there just nonstop. That's crazy.
I would be interested in, because have you guys had a woman on here before? Because I would be
You're
interested.
the first guest, period.
Yeah. A couple
Okay.
of the guys got
All
tips, but you're
we've
the only
had
one
for
with-
guests is women.
Because I was wondering, like in the survival stance, like you guys are talking about long peas. I just think that, you know, having a dick is very advantageous in a survival situation. I'm just like,
We can shoot and pee. I've done it.
we got a
I've
whole
target
cycle
shot
thing.
and peed.
Like we got like we attract bears. That's why in biblical days they put us in a tent away
That's true.
like we
That's true.
like we are problematic. So I would love to just hear, because I'm sure, you know, Bruce is married, right? Like he's got a lady. I'm sure she has had to couple with him. I don't know, because I don't shoot muzzle loaders as much as Rico does, but like she has to have some like good tips for the ladies out there when it comes to that. I felt really bad because I asked my pastor's daughter. She went to Africa and like did a whole mission trip out there, and I was like,
Cool.
you are better than me. What did you? I said, I have to ask you, what did you do?
Yeah.
when
How
got
did you
yourself-
clean stuff?
I was like, there's freaking lions. And she was like, I mean, you know, sometimes it was in a bucket, and like, you know, just like, you know, we had provisions, you know, we made sure that we had provisions for that. And I was just like, what? I
Yeah,
was like,
our church, we did a thing in the Congo where there was this hospital that was basically a like shitty old building from the 30s that was like cinder blocks,
oh my God.
and it was the only hospital within a 125-mile radius of where it was, and they only had electricity. They had electricity 2 days a week for 4 hours,
Mhm.
and it was a hospital. And so we went over and visited. I didn't go, but when our group went over and visited, you know, one of the things we were trying to do was hire a surgeon to be there a full time, get
Right.
electricity to the place and water that was better. And so he was walking through and he was talking about it. It's like, you know, he went through the maternity ward at this hospital, and there's like 6 or 7 women in the maternity ward. And it's like this one lady's sitting there, the baby's like 2 months old. And,
Wow.
and so they got talking to her. They're like, well, you know, is everything okay? Is there something we can do? She's like, oh no, I can't pay for the delivery yet. And they won't we can't leave until we can pay for the delivery. She'd been there for 2 months.
Oh my
And
God.
And so, you know, they went to the hospital administrators and like, yeah, this is the way we do this here. They have to pay because otherwise we had so many people, they have to pay. So that made sense. You know, we're feeding her, we're doing that. We're not charging her anymore, but they have to pay for this delivery. How much is the delivery charge? It's $60.
Oh my God.
And the other 5 women that were there were in the same boat where they'd been there for weeks or stuff. So the church is like, yeah, we're paying for all that right now. It's just let them go, you know.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we were able to get electricity to that hospital. We put in we drilled a well. We literally flew a well drilling unit over to the Congo, and that was the amount of bullshit that we had to go through to get the red tape to get that through. And then we go around that whole area drilling wells, and then we put up another wing of this hospital to help people. And I was like, okay, I'll give you this, because then a lot of them they came over. You know, some of the people that were the dignitaries in the town and stuff would come over, and you know, they would talk, you know, because they were Christians, where it's not a good thing to be a Christian. You know, they kill you out there for that shit. And so listening to his stories, but because I got into the church and got to be, you know, again, I was the first guy with my hand up. and doing that stuff. When they came, I got to really talk to these guys, and the stories they were telling of the life they had to live over there compared to our affluent town outside of Minneapolis, Andover. It was like, okay, we are doing something. There's something good that we got. I mean, we sent like $700,000 over to them, and that was just a piece of what we were able to do at this church.
That's
So
awesome.
I appreciated that. Like I said, and that's why COVID broke my heart, because I'm like, all of a sudden, the church elders just said, yeah, we're going to lose our 401 or our 501c3 status. We're going to do this. It was in because Minnesota was locked down hard. The governor
it
was a
was.
real son of a bitch, and he was going after churches hard. And so was Keith Ellison, who was the attorney general, who's a Muslim fucking. He's a bad human being.
Mhm.
And he's a Muslim, like Muslim Brotherhood kind of guy. Let's see what we can do to squash this Christian movement, because evangelical in the Midwest, it's a big deal, and Midwesterners are in generally not fighters.
Well, and
They
if
just go along to get along, and it's you're not being from Boston, we'd have told everyone to go fuck themselves, but
Well, and if you're truly of a Muslim faith, I'm pretty sure it says in there that they don't get down with Christians. So like they're not about it.
no,
Um,
then
Well,
well,
actually, like,
they
it's
don't
interesting.
they don't mind the Christians, but their goal is to convert them to the Muslim faith, because they believe the Christians believe Jesus walked the earth. They believe all in this, or the Muslims believe that. It's just they don't think that he is the absolute Messiah. They
Right.
believe
No,
Messiah.
They
Go
see
ahead.
him as the great. I'm talking to the guys at work about this. They see
Yeah.
him as like he's like
Another prophet.
like almost like he's like the second greatest prophet.
Yeah.
Like Muhammad was basically just like the reformer from what Jesus put out.
Right.
That's basically how they see it is that Muhammad's the reformer, because because Christianity started going so far astray, he had to bring it back in to get then that's why they're so strict on everything. That's basically it was like that was it was a reformation, and supposedly I haven't looked into it, but supposedly like in the Bible and stuff like that, Jesus talks about there will be other prophets to come after me in order to maintain, because like every so often a prophet has to come to set everybody straight, and basically so then that's why like Jesus prophesied Muhammad's coming supposedly or whatever.
But
Very interesting.
But he didn't name the prophets and the false prophets. Yeah,
all that.
And that's
why
where
it's the same God. No, it's not the same God, because we believe in a Trinitarian God. You believe in a God, which really does define the faith, which is why I like Christianity, because I believe that 3 heads of leadership is the best
in
way.
China, it's called Fusolo, which it's a 3-legged stool.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of their societies is, because any one of those legs goes away, and the whole thing collapses.
Right. Well, and you don't get a stalemate because you don't have 2 oppositions. You have forward motion. So you always have a tiebreaker when you have 3. Yeah. There's 3 heads. So that's why I like it. But these metaphysical talks, but yeah, the it's been a big thing. And as I've walked into this space, it's been interesting to watch it from that vantage point. How very, very much so people are against any kind of faith, really. Like that I can see. But yeah, Christianity, man, people don't like it right now.
Well, they've been sold not to like it, and that's part of the problem.
That's the big part.
And they've been sold by the churches not to like it. I was for 42 years. I was not a Christian at all. I was like, these church people are fucking lunatics.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I thought.
Some of them are, though. I mean,
yeah, and a lot of them are.
Really are.
A lot of them are.
Oh, yeah. Well, in my church, the biggest thing that I've seen is this because you gotta be, the way it was described to me is, well, what if you saw a 3-year-old playing in the road? Like, what would you do? And I was like, I'd save the 3-year-old, of course. But if you're equivocating that to a non-saved person, then that's inappropriate because you're not talking about somebody who is a child playing in the road. You're talking about an adult person more than likely that has a rationale and that has experienced things in life that you have to work with. And like, and there's also like a faith in God that you have to have, so it doesn't come through you. Like, you're not going to be able to say anything. And the best example of this was a girl that was like talking about this recently on Facebook. She said, what would be the one scripture that you would offer to somebody if you both knew that you were about to die, like, and you knew that that would be the one thing that you could tell them that maybe would get them saved? And I told her, I was like, my friend John Simmons recently went missing. I never saw it coming. He was a good
Weird.
friend of mine, was doing Bible study recently. We would have deep-rooted conversation. I never saw this coming. And I did know that we all have demons. We all have things that we go through that hurt us. But I gave him Proverbs 13 through 18. It's all about you hold wisdom, you have wealth. And he had a lot of hangups about money and being a person of a lot of money. And that was kind of his thing, is that he felt inadequate in that area. And I said, what kind of wealth are you like looking for, John? Because for me, you are one of the wealthiest people that I've ever met, because every time I'm around you, I learn something. You've done so much. I mean, he had dengue fever because he lived in South America at one point. Like, who the fuck has
Jeez.
dengue fever? And like, like, I mean, a lot of people, but like usually they
Not up
live,
here.
yeah, like here. And so like he was just an incredible human. And I gave him that. And I told my friend, I said, I gave him that because that was something I saw he struggled with. But no matter what, you can't see somebody's heart. God can, like you said. And you have to have faith that if you're presented with a person who is truly seeking, that you'll have the words to convict their heart, like that you'll have that about you. I said, but what it means to me is that I just need to center in around my own faith and my own healing, because exemplifying what you expect to find is the best thing that you can do when it comes down to people and influencing them. And as long as you have, and that's what I tell people all the time at church, I'm like, this whole like attack people with like Christian faith thing, you guys got to stop. What we need to exude is like this untouched joy that people look at and they're like, what crack are they smoking? Like, really, what are they sniffing right now? Because whatever it is, I want that. Like, we need to walk around so freaking happy and just skipping on clouds that people are like, what is going on here? Because if you bash people over the head with the faith, and even a 3-year-old, you come and rush them and grab them out of the danger, they're going to freak out because they don't know what just happened. Like, you just saved their life, but they don't know you just saved their life. They don't even understand what you're doing. You just traumatized that kid,
right?
While you radically like grab them and like shook them up. I mean, yeah, you saved their life, but like, what is that good if they don't know what the hell just happened and you just traumatized them? Now they're like, whoa, so that's kind of my whole thing with it at this point. But I very much so am enjoying myself. And like you said, some really incredible people in that space. But yeah, like Minnesota is crazy, man. Like, there's a lot of shit in Minnesota. You know what I heard about recently? Have you guys listened to Louder with Crowder? The operation that they just did where they found out about the Chinese nationals that are buying up Oklahoma farmland and kind of infiltrating the pot game, and how like the triad like kind of.
Well, do you know what he left out is because the Saudis have owned that here for a long time, and I've got a friend that's in that industry, and he said the Saudis came to town and they're not paying taxes. and it's a mob, and they go and they just say, you can fight us, but we'll crush you and you'll end up in a ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Yeah.
were serious, and that's what's been going on. So that the Chinese see what the Saudis have been doing, and they're like, hold my beer,
Yeah.
You want brutal. There's no one more brutal than the Chinese if they need to be.
Oh, I
And
know.
so yeah, it's a pretty interesting thing, because there's another side of the Chinese. That's the side that I deal with on a daily basis, that are the most incredible capitalists that you will meet.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know which ones are buying that land down there, because just because it's the marijuana that they want to grow doesn't mean that they're one side or the other. They're just opportunists like the rest of us.
Well, from
But
what
if
they've
it-
covered, they said it's a big place of like literal slavery, because they're hoarding people there and workers and not paying them. And they're just having them be on like in these little shacks, these men like 15 to a shack, and they're working, and they're like, yeah, they're gonna pay us like when we get back. And it's like, dude, I don't know about that.
that they can only do that for so long, though. Once that gets found out and gets to the media, that's over. If they're bringing in Chinese workers, then they could do that for a little bit longer, because they don't know that they can go anywhere. They're captured, basically slaves. But that won't fly here for very long, because as they grow and get better, because what they will do is they will corner the market, and then the spotlight will be shined on them. Right now, they're still under the radar a little bit. So
From
that's
what I've
what's
heard,
going
they're
on.
like syncing up with the Mexican cartels as well, which when I was invited to go out to Oklahoma, there was like this big thing that says, do not do cocaine in Oklahoma. It will have fentanyl. Like,
Yeah.
do not do it. And I was like, I was not planning on doing it. I'm not smoking your pot either, by the way. I was told that I should get my green card, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just gonna come and tattoo and enjoy.
Yeah, just do the tattoos, do the things.
do any of that.
I painted
That's-
bikes for the Hells Angels, and that was managed to just paint their bikes.
Yeah,
Not you look cool. You paid me. Everything's good.
it's
But
crazy.
anyway, you guys, I'm gonna bail. I gotta run.
Yeah,
Amy, thank you so much. It was so great to catch up.
definitely. I'll do it again anytime.
Yeah, and we should talk more. You, me, and Carol gotta jump on a call and talk for 4 hours.
Dude, it would be so good. Any one of
Right.
you, I mean, obviously I can just ramble on, whatever.
Me too, for hours. If I didn't have to work tomorrow, I'd be like, oh my god, but I got a
Same
couple
here.
things I gotta do.
Yeah,
So-
Yeah.
well, thank you.
Chris has to
Appreciate
go to
bro.
work. Well, Chris, you're going to work in about 20 minutes, aren't you?
No, about 5 minutes. I'm gonna get on a call with an indie label and
Oh my
try to get some work. So
it. Get some sleep at some point.
yeah,
Chris, thank you for recording and setting this all up. This was great.
Yeah,
know.
no problem. Yeah, it was actually easier than I thought. So I think we'll have to start doing this for the pre and the post.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Switch back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool, man.
Next time I'll join the right stream. I joined the wrong one.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was sitting there. I joined at 7 or 8:45 my time.
Sure.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like,
Where
Where
are
the
these
hell is
fuckers?
and then I go through my email and I'm like, shit, I joined the one from.
I was literally just texting you if you were going to join us when you jumped in. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
save that one.
Oh, that's a me move.
I was doing the same thing with you, Amy. Honestly, I was texting you. I'm like, room's open whenever you're ready.
I had
And
to
like before I hit send, you were there. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I got it. All right,
So-
guys. Well, have a great night. Thank you
Yep,
so
you
much.
too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you,
We'll see you
Amy.
again.
Yeah.
Bye.